Okay, it is time to finish the June Watanabe Hornet. The chassis turned out great. Now it's time to turn our attention to the body and all these lovely polka dots. We have been thinking about how to do this. We'll get to that a bit later on. Let's paint the body first. So, body's cut out, obviously. Not too bad, it's not my best job, but we'll get away with it. Now, best thing about this body is whether it be the June Watanabe Hornet or the standard Hornet, it's just one colour. It's so easy. But in this case, it's all white, PS1 white. So all we need to do, we need to wash it first, and then we can put on our window masks. Now for the roll bars, we are not going to use the decals that come with the kit. You even get a decal for this cowl up the front here. We're going to paint them, but we're going to paint them on the outside. So once all the white's done, we are going to very carefully trim around the roll bars with a brand new blade and trim around this cowl and peel off the protective film and spray it with the PS5 black. That's how we did the cockpit in the big wig, and it turned out great. So we're going to wash the body, put the window stickers in, and we'll see you when we start throwing some paint around. Alright, so we're not going to show you much of the actual painting, but what I'm going to do first is put some PS55 flat clear. Just going to do a couple of light coats just around the window masks, just to try and seal up the edges, so that when we spray the white, we hopefully get no bleed into the windows. I've never really had any problem with these masks. They seem to seal pretty good as they are, but we'll give this a go anyway. And same with any other painting process, just light coats. Just let that take off, and we get another quick hit with this. Zach actually asked if we were going to do the pearl clear inside, and well, if I had some I probably would, but we ran out. So now this doesn't take very long to dry at all, but while it is drying, now the wing, I've always had trouble getting the paint inside these thin areas here of the wing. So what I'm going to do is try an old trick. Since Tamiya don't produce the PC line of paints anymore, I believe they still do the PC5, the polycarbonate black. The PCs were the polycarbonate paint in the brush pots. They stopped producing, which is a real pity. But what I'm going to try and do, this should be shook up enough. I'm just going to spray some paint into the cap, and just use the brush to get into that wing, and hopefully, if I can get it in the cap. Do this over here because it just goes everywhere. Right. I don't know if you can see, but there's a bunch of white in there. Yep. I'm just coming into that thin edge with the brush. You can see a couple of air holes in there. Oh no, that's just dust on the outside. So, give it a hit on the other one. This polycarbonate paint does dry pretty quick when it's thin. So you might find that the paint you put in the lid will probably dry up pretty quick. So that should do it for those hard to reach areas of the wing. This paint is so thin, you only need to move the brush a tiny bit and it just flicks everywhere. Actually, if you just dab a bit in there, you can see it running down that ridge there. I've actually done this to a body a long time ago. I think it actually might have been the original Porsche 956 that I had when I was a teenager. I had the polycarbonate paint in the pot, in the bottle. I think I didn't have any brushes, so I just basically obviously masked up the windows and stuff like that. And since it was all white, I basically just poured the paint into the body and just swirled the paint around until it got everywhere. And that did the trick. The outside of the body looked good. The inside of the body just had lumps and lumps of dried white paint everywhere, but you obviously couldn't see that on the outside. So there's another trick, which you can't do anymore because you can't get the actual paint. I'm going to give this other one another quick hit. Once this is done, I'm going to give the body a light coat of the white, and then we're going to just bring you back when all the paint's done. Then we'll show you how this wing turned out using this method. And obviously, in case you don't think of it, there's still a bit of paint in there, so if you turn this pot upside down, that's going to tip out. So if you put it back onto your actual spray can straight away, you're going to end up with paint everywhere on the top of the can. So don't do that. Alright, this body, that clear should be fine. Right, just one nice light coat, and I mean light. Now, I'm actually going to do it off camera, but I'm going to come into where the wing mounts are, because they're hard to get into as well with the spray. So I'm going to do the same thing with the brush. I'm going to do that off camera. Alright, we'll bring it back when everything's white. So we're halfway through painting the white on the Hornet shell. I say halfway through because we did the brush technique in all the tight areas. You really have to make sure that you get the rest of the paint as solid as the brushed paint when you're spraying. Because if you're... Yeah, I can even see it here. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. But where the brush paint was, that's a very solid white. And where the spray white is, you can see a definite line between the two. So it's going to take more paint than it should. I've nearly gone through one can so far. We got another can, so that's fine. And I'm also going to back this up in silver, so once that's done, it's going to really accentuate that line difference between the two whites. So that's the downside of doing that. Just means you've got to really pack on the paint when you're spraying. If it was a darker colour, I don't think it would matter so much. But because it's white, red would do the same. Yellow, all your lighter colours. So yeah, that's just another tip if you're going to go down that way. Alternatively, if you don't do that and you just spray it, you run the risk of having lighter areas in the bits that are hard to get to, which is what's happened in pretty much all of our Hornet bodies in the past, all bodies with hard to get to areas. Right, we're going to keep going with the white. Right, all the white's done. We pretty much went through a whole can of white. I'm going to go and back the whole thing in PS12 silver. Now, I don't really need to do this because, while it's sitting on the shelf, I reckon it'll look just fine the way it is. But since we're going to cut the mask film off and paint the roll bars and this grill at the front, we're going to paint the black from the outside. You're going to get overspray inside the body, and you're going to have patches of black over the white. Now I could just back the whole thing in black as I'm doing roll bars, but that tends to, if there are like pinholes in the paint, the black really shows up, and it makes the white a lot darker. The silver doesn't seem to darken it up as much, and it doesn't show up quite as bad if there are kind of pinholes and bits missing in the paint. It does show up, but not as bad as the black would be. So obviously once the silver's on and you get that black overspray, it's not going to show up through the white at all. So this silver spray is really nice. So it should only take 1 or 2 coats. Again, I'm just going a light coat first. That's that. I'm just going to blow the wing real quick. And we're going to bring you back when we cut the mask and do the black roll bar. So we'll see you then. Alright, so all the silver's laid out. It's still a little bit green. I can still smell it a bit. But it's good enough to do what we need to do next, which is cut out the what do you call it? Protective film, so that we can paint the roll bars. Now we're actually set up on our new dry bar that we set up yesterday. It's really just a big old, that's got to be near a 4-inch slab of hardwood timber, and just sitting on a couple of old 44-gallon drums. This is our new dry bar for out in the carport. But this is where we're doing it. I only got the towel on there to stop any dust from this old slab of wood coming up onto the body. So if you're going to do this, use a brand new blade. Even if you just put a new blade into your knife and you've used it for something, take that blade out and put a brand new blade in, because you really want to be able to cut through that protective film with very little pressure, so that you're not actually cutting into the body itself. Now, since we're trying to do this on camera, it's probably going to be quite awkward, but you basically just got to follow the lines where you want your paint to go, basically. And I find these very fine tip blades to be really good for this. Now we just have to work out where we got to go. I just cut down there, over there, and down there. I think I did down there. Feels like I did. If you go real steady, you can actually feel where you've been with the knife. Then we've got to go all the way around this window here, and I'm pressing very lightly. You'll see when we actually peel the film off what happens if you do miss some areas, which really isn't a problem or a big deal. So I've just got down to the part of that roll bar where it actually meets with the body, so I need to go around here. Zach's doing his best to keep everything in frame, because since my eyesight is not so great, I really need to be in a position where I can see what I'm doing. And being out here with the sun shining on, makes it really easy to see what I'm doing. If we went up, I was going to go upstairs to the bench to do this, but it's actually quite dark up there, because I don't have my new lights set up yet. Okay, I actually made a mistake there. I shouldn't have cut across there. I don't need to unmask that because that's the roof. I need to come back this way. I hope that doesn't affect the... It probably will. Paint is going to seep through that cut I just made. So what I'm going to have to do there is before we paint, I'm going to lay down a bit of masking tape over that cut. You just really need to take your time and go slow and try and keep your cut lines as straight as possible. I know you can't see what I'm doing there, but you get an idea. We might time lapse the rest of it. I really don't want to like keep talking and make another mistake like that. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I've got everywhere cut out that I need to. Up against the white, you can really see, you probably can't see, but I can. You can really see where you've been with the knife. In these areas here with the yellow from the mask, it's difficult. But if you're really careful, you can lay your knife back in there. You can actually feel that you've already cut that film. So, moment of truth, we are going to start peeling off film very, very carefully. I'm going to try and do this so that you guys can see. I have a bit of film coming off here. All the tape on the outside, I've done my usual trick. I like to tape over holes and stuff to stop getting overspray on the outside of the body, even though you've got this protective film. If you've got any cuts in that protective film, the overspray is going to obviously find its way onto the body, which might seem a little counterintuitive because I didn't even mask up the windscreen area here, which I don't understand why they leave that open. I guess it's an airflow thing, especially from back in the day when you had the mechanical speed controller right there. So there's going to be, well, there might be anyway. Yes, we got one here. Okay, so I've come to a point where I haven't cut, like my cuts haven't met up, and it's starting to lift the protective film where I don't want it to. That's why you really need to take your time, and as soon as it does that, you just stop and finish that cut. Now, something very interesting that I just thought of. I don't know exactly how they mold these bodies, but I'm pretty sure when you first peel off this protective film, it would be the first time ever that the outside of this body has been touched by human hands, because they'd have to mold the body with this film already in the mold, wouldn't they? And I just thought that was interesting. Okay, so I think we've got everything. As I was doing it, now this protective film, once it's lifted, it doesn't really stick back down. So if you do lift it, especially this part here, I know I'm going to get a bit of bleed in that corner there. But you can clean up your overspray and touch it up if you have polycarbonate cleaner, which we don't have yet. I keep forgetting to buy it. All I have to do is run a bit of tape over that line there where I accidentally kept going and cut the wrong thing. Okay, so I'm just using just some standard masking tape. This isn't frog tape, even though it's green. It's not proper frog tape. People think it's called frog tape because it's green. You get blue frog tape, I think. Well, you definitely do, but I don't know if you get other colours. But it really is just standard masking tape. It's automotive masking tape, but it's not the best stuff. Okay, so I've just covered up that area there where I accidentally cut into it. And just having one last look. This is where the sunlight really helps, because the protective film isn't as shiny as the plastic on the body. You can really see if there's some. Is there more film in there? Trying to find the sunlight. There we go. Another reason why we're doing this out here is just a gorgeous day. And this time of year, with the sun shining on you, it just feels really nice. Okay, that's good to go. Let me do that, because Jimmy DeRester will sack me if I don't. Let's spray some black. Alright, time to spray the black on the roll bars and that front cowl, grill, whatever you want to call it. As I said, before the plastic film is taken off, the outside of these bodies haven't been touched by human hands. They haven't even seen atmosphere, so meaning oxygen. So there's no mold release on the plastic itself. I've done this a few times. I've never had a problem with the paint sticking. I've never had to clean the plastic, so it's just straight on with spraying the black. I'm just checking I've got the right can. Obviously, black covers very well, so you really don't need much. But again, first coat, light, very light. We'll come back to another couple of coats, maybe even just one coat. And then we're going to peel the film off and have a look. Before we do that, I'm going to back up all the silver in the black. As you can see, it's very minimal, but we do have black overspray there. That's why I backed it up in the silver first, just so that black didn't affect the white at all. But yeah, we're going to come back directly and show you the finished body. Okay, so the black is more or less dry. It's still pretty green. I mean, I can still smell it. But I think we're ready to pull off the protective film. Obviously, we've gone on the inside and filled it all in black. Did the wing. We're probably going to do that first. And Zach, this is usually your thing. So come around here. Enter, Zach. So you can peel off the wing and see if we messed up anything there. While Zach's doing that, there's one area down here that I'm concerned about. There's one area down here I'm concerned about. I reckon we're going to get some bleed through there. The rest I'm pretty confident with. But if we do get bleed, we are going to fix it and make it pretty ready for those Frisian cow, Dalmatian looking bloody stickers to go on the car. I was going to try and talk while Zach was doing that, but he's really taking your time, so go on, man.
Trying. It's just falling apart.
Falling to pieces. We can't play the audio over that song, obviously, we'll get sued. But so far it's looking pretty good. Actually, while you're doing that, I'll go and get another brand new cloth. When you're finished, we can... Oh, yeah, no, this... Okay. I can see something has gone horribly wrong here. Okay, so all in all, it turned out okay. Didn't turn out great. So, don't know if you can see. Get some light around here. Can you see in there? So, where I came in with the brush to do the hard to get places, what I should have done was paint that whole area with the brush. There's just a couple of bits in here that are showing through with the darker colours, either with the silver or the black. They're not, if you don't know they're there, you're probably not going to see them. But yeah, if I was to do that again, and if you're thinking about doing it, I'd probably paint more of that area with the brush, just to stop that from happening. So, the main reveal. You want to do this, mate, or you want me to do it?
You can do it.
Why? You scared?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got better nails than me and better eyesight. Oh, here we go. I got one. So yes, this is the moment of truth. To see how much bleed we got around this roll bar from the technique that we used. Now that technique, that wasn't my idea. We actually got that from watching videos by Hemistorm. He does that with some of his cars when he wants a little bit more of a satin finish on the outside with some of his designs. So far this white is looking really good. There's going to be bits we need to clean up, obviously. This is the scary part. So what did we actually miss so far? That looks pretty good. So this is the area I was worried about. And yes, we did get a tiny little bleed there. That's really not hard to fix. That all looks okay. That looks okay. So let's get everything off the rear before we move on to the actual turret. I just tore it there, so yeah, all of this you can see here is basically paint, and I left my knife downstairs, so just going to do my best to pull that out. This is just paint in these holes here. So that turned out alright. Those are body holes, we'll clean them out later. All in all, I think Okay, so you can see it looks a bit messy around the top of that roll bar there. That is just loose paint that came off the film, and it's just hanging there. So I can clean that up with a blade, as well as this edge here on the roof. So now we can have a go at these window masks. There's one. Next one. There's two. We have one more for the rear window. And those roll bars, once I clean up this these loose bits of paint here, I don't want to touch it too much at the moment because, it's, like I said, it's still green. Not wet, but I mean, it's not wet at all, but kind of looks a bit like a stormtrooper, really, doesn't it? So yeah, there's our body painted. A bit of bleed there. There's a few bits of touch up. But what I want to do, so you can see we have a aerial tube painted in lovely pink. We wanted to tidy up the motor wires a bit, so we actually found some purple zip ties. There's one there, there's one hidden in there somewhere. So let's clean that up a lot. So let's just sit this on the body. Just poking through there. I'll clean that up in a minute. While I was painting this body, I thought painting a Hornet white was just weird, but I don't know, that looks pretty good. So, next step, oh wait, can't forget the wing. Just sit that there for now. So next step, we have to cut this sticker sheet out, put them on the body, and then we got to paint some spotlights for the front. We got to paint the driver figure, and the car will be done. But for now, that looks pretty good.